Today's conversation is, I wish I can take that back. Welcome to season 2 of the Functioning Overthinker Weekly Podcast. This season, we're having girl talk on various topics such as love, self, and money. But through it all, we're reminded to not be anxious about anything, but to trust God in everything. I'm your host, Shanae Sadler. In this episode, we are diving into relationships, the bad ones, the ones that makes us cringe. But before I do, I really want to ask this question. For those that like mimosas, do you like it with orange juice or do you like it with pineapple juice? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's get back to the topic. Question. As soon as you heard this topic, what past relationship came to mind? For me, the one that stood out the most was a romantic relationship because I let that relationship just happen. How many of us will admit that we let some relationship go past their expiration date? Ooh, listen. But the thing is, no matter how much it did hurt, it was time to let it go. It could be a platonic relationship. It could be a romantic relationship. Let it go. I used to always laugh and say that platonic breakups hurt more than romantic breakups. And part of me still feel that way because you've built such a bond with that person. Now it's a 2-in-1 if you find a lover who is also your best friend. But then if you guys happen to break up, then that's a double whammy. The hurt feels like it's double, tripled, it's heightened. But that's how the world works, right? We meet people and sometimes we think it will work out, but it doesn't. Now, this conversation is geared towards how do you let that pain go? So here goes the story time. So grab your mimosas and let's dive in. As I mentioned before, the relationship that I wish I could have taken back is a romantic one. As an overthinker, one thing that played on my mind the most was the fact that I wish I could have redone some of the conversations that I had because I felt like I didn't get to tell my piece. I didn't get to tell my story. I didn't get to unleash it all. You know that feeling where you want to say some things and you didn't get a chance to? That's what I regretted the most. I left gracefully. And even though there is strength in leaving gracefully, sometimes you want to get down to their level, right? And while that was a high road and the road that God would have wanted me to take, I felt like I didn't get to say what I wanted to. Now, after really going through the motions and healing and getting over it, I am now at peace with my approach. But initially, as I said, I struggled with it. Now, let's go back a little bit. How did we get there? I was with someone for 1.5 years. And to be honest, there were red flags from the beginning. Red flags from the jump. Red flags left, right. It was all over. The thing is, I was going through other emotional battles that I didn't care enough to really put this on the forefront. So I let things slide. What does that mean? I was sliding past the red flags, left, right. It was on the right, I was sliding past. It was on the left, I was sliding past. I mean, legit, the red flags at one point looked like green flags or off green. Have you ever seen an off green color? It doesn't really exist, right? Because we have trained our minds to see the good in people. And so even the red flags at one point looked like it could be green flags, to be honest. So what happened? I grew to love this man. I cared deeply. Around that time, I got closer to God and eventually he started to show me bits and pieces of the foolishness. The thing is, I wasn't looking for anything at all. Remember, I had bigger fish to fry. I had other emotional battles. I had real world problems at this time. And so when God started to reveal things to me, again, I was sliding past them. I was sliding past them with full force because I just wanted one area of my life to be okay. I wanted one area of my life to not be a whole, mess. And so I just decided to live in Delulu as long as I could. But what happened was, and this is why I say be careful when you start to pray prayers, because when you pray to God and God starts to fix things in your life, then you start to see a shift. Because when I started to pray prayers for God to reveal things to me, at one point I got so fed up and I was like, God, reveal more. I know you revealed in the past. I know you're probably tired of me at this point, but reveal it now, because now I'm fed up. Oh boy, did he start to reveal some things that I was not ready for. I'm talking about flight receipts. I'm talking about email receipts. I'm talking about photo receipts. And the biggest one of all, I'm talking about additional kids. Like, can you imagine being like seeing all these things all at once? Like it was back to back to back. I didn't get the chance to really consume it and really understood what was going on. As a matter of fact, it was about 3 or 4 additional kids. It wasn't like one additional child. Like it was a lot of kids that were revealed to me. Now you're probably saying to yourself, like, what the hell, Shanae? This is the same thing I said too. And the worst part about it is, or was, I stayed with him. After God revealed all those things, I stayed. Why did I stay? I didn't have the emotional capacity to even fathom moving on. Like I just couldn't do it. I couldn't even bother with it. It was just a lot. And remember, I had bigger fish to fry. In comparison to like what I really had going on the other side of things, I felt like I needed to exert all my energy in that area. And remember, as overthinkers, we tend to carry things on our shoulders. And if I had started to feed into that energy, I would have become a mess, because then I would start to overthink every single thing. And it would have become a whole mess of things, to be honest. So now here we are, a year in, and I started to pray prayers of strength and wisdom, because I lack strength and I lack the wisdom of how to move on. So I was like, let me pray the prayers of how to move on, right? As an overthinker, it was important for me to really and truly fill myself up with positive thoughts and ones that were empowering. Because as you can recall in my previous episode, imagining the best case scenarios, in that one, I spoke about how important it is to really fill yourself up as an overthinker with thoughts that are meant for good. Because if you start to go down the path of reliving and feeling guilt and feeling doubt, you may not know how to control that. You may not know where to stop, because as overthinkers, we are on a slippery road. We can be in the good, or we can travel over to the bad, where it's like depression and sadness and hurt to the point where there's no return. And so I had to remain in the path of like, okay, how do I empower myself to leave? I chose to think about the best case scenarios at that point. And so now I will not stand here and bash anyone, but mighty God, I didn't deserve any of that. So one day came, I was in my room and I heard a still voice said, send the message now. That's all it said. But I knew what that meant, because for me, it meant it's time to break up. Click, click, click. It's time to let that go. It was time to move forward. And even though I wasn't ready, all the way ready, I knew what it meant. And you see me, I'm going to listen to the voice of God, because I don't play with God. When God speaks, I might take a little moment, but I know it's time to move, right? I was sad. I wasn't sad and I wasn't happy. Honestly, I was just like indifferent. I remember around that time too, my father was sick and my main focus was lifting him up in prayer. And after that day, I sent the message. I felt a weight lifted up off my shoulders. And again, I wasn't sad. I wasn't happy. I was just indifferent. And because my father was sick, again, I had bigger fish to fry, right? As time went on, the regret came though. It was a regret of, shoot, man, you didn't get to say what you needed to say. And I felt like I had to live with all that bottled up feeling because I chose the high road. I didn't choose the, cuss and go on in my Jamaican terms, but we kept it moving. We kept it going because we are graceful beings. We are Christians. And here I am now being able to tell you. So now we're what? 2 years later. I am happy I came out of that hole. And I'm happy I freed myself from that. The more you continue to replay the past, the more it controls your future, right? You have to let it go. Not for them, but for you, for yourself, so you can start the healing. You cannot take it back, but you can take your joy back. You can take your happiness back. Take your peace of mind back because they aren't worth it. That's just the truth. So even though you spent years building this thing, don't let it spend years tearing you down or eating you alive. Relationships will resurface because now I'm in a happy relationship and a healthy one, right? So relationships will resurface, and the one that is for you will love you for you, child. You won't have to find out things about hidden trips or hidden kids. Mighty God. I still can't believe that at all. Thank God I have a strong heart. Thank God I had a community that I was able to pour into and pour back into me. Anywho, I hope this episode was able to really touch someone, because living with regret is one of the hardest things to overcome. Sitting there and wallowing and feeling regretful and feeling guilty and wish you could take things back. You can't take it back. It's just the past. And that's where it will remain, right? Unless you bring it with you in your future. But I don't recommend that at all, because it's such a heavy weight and it's such a burden on your shoulders when you don't let people go. Let past people go, past situations go. They're in the past for a reason, Let them stay there, like, for real, for real. But thank you for tuning in. Again, I hope that I was able to touch someone today, an overthinker, someone in the community. And as I wrap up today's episode, head on over to functioningoverthinker.com to give your feedback on some things that you would like us to dive into this season. Next week's topic will be on asking for help is not a weakness. And as always, see you next week for another episode. And until then, stay functioning. You are bomb.com.